You feel that now? I feel like Rocky in this one, baby. Let's go. Alright, check it. Blast from the past, back from the future. So if I pull the trigger in the past, know you and your future. I'm still hustling, still hugging the block. The referee to the shit, I'm still calling them shots. I can't be stopped, that's what I told you. I'm living my life like a box of Crayolas. I'm cutting up white, smoking that green. Purple color pens, I'm still making this cream. I'm so sick, check my throat quick. My wrist light up a room like a handful of glow stick. I'm like spoiled milk, the kids gone bad. Then it's the menace, my pen touches the pad. Niggas is mad, but the ladies is glad. Yo, they rubbing up against me like this nigga is rad. Fucking two divas, drinking on sangria. I got the beam of the color, diarrhea. Tire strings on my feet cause I'm so fly. Hopped out the DeLorean, it's Artie McFly.
Welcome to the Rick H Show. I don't hear the applause. You guys hear it? You hear it?
I hear it. We hear it. We hear it.
Okay. Earlier my wife was asking me a question, and I wasn't doing the husband thing where I was pretending not to hear. I really couldn't hear, and she was like getting frustrated. She's like on the third floor of the house. I was like, I can't hear you. Welcome to the show. Today we got founder, chief investment officer, and business operator. He's going to go into all that in a second. Brian Velez is here. Yeah, so we promised our audience, how to get their money right, like some financial advice. Also, Bitcoin, is that a real thing? I get my financial advice from Rick Ross, and he's not about it. So, Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Rick Ross is like out of our caliber. We can't take advice from him at this moment.
I wouldn't take money advice from Ricky Rose.
Well, just like everybody in this day and age, I get my news from Instagram, right? My financial advice from TikTok and Rick Ross. So first of all, let's just talk about Bitcoin. Let's just go right into the
Jump
water.
Right up in it.
Yeah.
What the hell is it?
What is it? Should we invest in it? Well, let's get to know who Brian is. Brian, how did you end up in this circle? And is this your calling and all that good spiel?
Yeah, so my background is I graduated from Columbia. That's actually where I met Jazz. So I studied applied math and economics there. My first job out of college was at a hedge fund. So small, long, short equity hedge fund trading stocks and options. There was about 10 of us on the desk. Did that for a couple of years. Then I moved over to an investment bank at Cowen, and I was an equity research analyst at Cowen. So I covered beverages, tobacco, and cannabis. So all the sin stocks is pretty cool. All the conferences, I would get a free alcohol and free weed. Pretty good job on Wall Street.
I could interject. We did not consume cannabis at this time, so there was a lot of wasted opportunities. Okay.
I'm wearing actually Lao City Farms, one of my proud sponsors.
Hey!
It was just so happened I'm wearing this hat, but okay. Damn, so no cannabis. All right, let's just move forward.
So it was cool doing that for a few years, but I saved up my bonuses, racked up a little bit, and I decided to start my own business. So I opened up a gym in Brooklyn, New York. So OPEC South Brooklyn, I've been doing that for the past 3 years. Okay. We opened up right before the pandemic, but then during COVID, during the quarantine, I felt like I had more time and I started a podcast actually myself, started getting a lot more into investing, trying to talk to my family and friends about kind of what's going on with the economy being shut down, what to look forward to. And so I eventually started my own hedge fund 7 months ago. So as of January 1st, I'm also the running my own hedge fund, Netizen Capital. So I've been doing that. So I split my time between the gym and the fund. So, I'm working for myself. I'm fully committed to doing this, and this is my life now.
Damn.
Corporate America.
No wonder, Jasmine. Yeah. You a catch, bro. You a catch.
I kid you not.
Try, man. I got to keep up with her. her.
Brian's the lucky one. All right, Rick, don't get it twisted.
So it's like, I mean, a lot of people have interest in money and making money and all that stuff, but is finance really passionate? I mean, it has to be. You're into it.
It's a game.
Hedge fund.
It's a game, man. Like, this is the thing. I feel like I play sports my whole life. I play baseball's my number one sport.
Okay,
I'm multi-sport athlete my whole life. Yankees.
Oh, okay. We're
Yankees.
ending this interview right now. No,
Fuck
I'm
out of
just
here.
kidding.
All right. No. All right. So but this is the thing with sports is when you have an expiration date with sports, right? I
Mhm,
played throughout high school. I realized I wasn't going to go pro. So what am I trying to do playing in college, right?
mhm,
And the thing with business and investing, it's a sport you can play for the rest of your life. So that's kind of the way I see it. I wake up every day. It's like game day. Jasmine sees me in the mornings every morning, just getting prepped for my day and everything, going through my
mhm,
research, going through the news.
Mhm.
So it's a game to me, right? And I think people have to understand that at the end of the day, you might not like the rules of money and how the economy works and everything, but you got to play the game if you're trying to win. So, I
mm.
try to do my best and do that.
Mhm.
Wow.
That's a hard pill to swallow because
Okay.
people don't want to play the game. They want to break the system.
Yeah. So so there's a bunch of like get rich quick schemes. Um, Fortunately, the stock market is one that is actually legal, and if you're playing around, you're paying attention, you can make some money in it.
Sure.
But then there's other things like forex and things like that. Are those things you would advise people to get into? And then we'll jump into the Bitcoin whole thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, when it comes to markets, I mean, Forex is just a different asset class, right? That's
Hmm.
just trading currencies. You could trade stocks, you could trade currencies, you could trade commodities like
Hmm.
oil and gold, right? You could trade crypto. These are just markets. So, I think the average person probably doesn't have enough time to have an edge in markets, honestly, because I did this professionally at a fund and also at an investment bank and now doing it for myself. The
Hmm.
level of sophistication you have to have in kind of reading into the markets is a lot. And I think the average person who's working a job trying to beat the market is flat out going to fail, unfortunately. So that's why they generally say, hey, just passively invest your money. Try not to do too much trading. If anything, under trade. So just buy and hold and just forget
Hmm.
about it and check it in 5, 10, 15 years.
Mhm.
But for me, obviously, I've been doing this for a while. So I'm obviously more active. But I think the average person probably shouldn't be doing this.
I am queen hold. I'm queen
Okay.
hold. I throw it and forget it.
Yeah, I mean that's the best advice. Because the thing, get rich quick, right? There's nothing in life that's gonna come quick. First of all,
Nope.
so I'm sorry to
Word.
burst everybody's bubble, but I think you invest in something like a friend of mine invested in Bitcoin when it was like $50 a share or a coin or whatever
Nice.
early on. This was like 8 and 10 years ago, and now
Yeah, it
he's
has
got
to
a
be.
heavy chunk of change. So
Hmm.
explain to me the cryptocurrency. Ricky Rose told me not to invest my money in cryptocurrency. Why
Yo,
should
Ricky
I though?
Rose sleeping. He's sleeping.
So
He can't see it. So if he can't see it, just like NFTs, he don't believe in it.
So I think there's we gotta make a distinction first off between
Hmm.
Bitcoin and everything else, right?
Hmm.
So I think people tend to group Bitcoin with Ethereum, Solana, all these other cryptos.
Those coins,
I
all
like
those,
to
yeah.
I like to think of it as two separate things. There's Bitcoin and there's everything else. That's first off,
Hmm.
right? Second off, Bitcoin was really established as it's a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So people have been forever trying to build electronic cash systems. Obviously, the issue with money today is that it's controlled by a central bank, which is ruled by government and politics. This has been going on for hundreds, if not thousands of years.
Hmm.
Even the Roman Empire had, centralized currency. And what they do is every time there's a crisis, they debase the currency without telling the people. This is what happened in 2008 during the global financial crisis. This is also what happened in COVID during 2020. We locked down the economy. We printed 5, 6, $7 trillion worth of US dollars. And now we're all wondering why there's so much inflation. Well, it's because the government debased our currency. So Bitcoin was created in 2009 after the 2008 global financial crisis as an alternative money system that was independent of central banks and government, right? So that's pretty much the easiest way to kind of think of it. But I think of Bitcoin as a monetary asset, as a money alternative,
Hmm.
whereas crypto, I would consider those more speculative investments for people. Kind of think of it as like a speculative tech investment
So
if you're
Bitcoin's
investing
like
in
a
like Ethereum or
currency.
Solana.
That's the best
Bitcoin is.
explanation I've ever heard. By the way, I think I'm gonna chop that up and put that as a soundbite
You should do
because
that.
because that's the best explanation I've heard. And a lot of people think like me and Ricky Rose. We can't see it, we don't understand it, and I'm
Hmm.
Sure.
pretty old. But it makes a lot more sense. And especially when you start talking about government, that's when people take a closer listen.
Yeah, I would
100%.
also add that like when you say government, I automatically think middleman. I be thinking about oh my god, I need
The
3 days
working
to
class,
clear
yeah.
it. Yeah, and like if I'm sending money through PayPal or whatever, that little those days that it takes to clear. That's so shady to me. I'm like, but that's mine. Like I work for it. I get that. Like, why do you need to clear? Why can't I just get the money
Mhm.
instantly? You know what I'm saying? So I feel like that's just what I think about when you say government, and I think about them being the middleman of like where the money's going, clocking whose hands it's going in.
Yeah, that's why they
Well,
installed all these tax laws on Cash App, Venmo,
Which is
PayPal.
crazy. They want to come after our little $600 side hustles, but they're not going after the billionaires. Make me want to fight.
Well, our economy has just been so financialized, right? So
Mhm.
our economy is built on middlemen, right? When you try to send money overseas to your family, and you use Western Union, they're the middleman taking that bite through the
That's
middle, right?
expensive too.
Mhm.
Exactly. And so, a lot of people, especially like in Cuba and Latin America overseas, they're using Bitcoin as a way to send their family money without having to go through Western Union and all these other intermediaries. So I think it serves, as Americans, I think we take it for granted because we don't really need alternative money because we are backed by the US dollar, right?
Mhm.
But that's a privilege that other countries don't have. And overseas, they don't trust their local government. Other countries do not have the US dollar to back them. So they have to resort to kind of alternative currencies, and Bitcoin specifically can be a life raft for a lot of people, especially if they're trying to escape their country.
Wow, that's 2 points for Brian on the Bitcoin battle. Right? Ricky Rose, you're not making no more sense to me right now. Let's talk about the because again, social media, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. I hate it, but this is true. Like people look for these. These are the sources for information, right?
Mhm.
Bitcoin, cryptocurrency is another way to launder money. There's illegal activities going on. Then busts are happening on it. Can you speak to that? First of all, you don't work for Bitcoin. You're just giving us your opinion on it. What would you
Yeah.
tell
First off,
someone
no,
who has?
no.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead. Say it.
I was gonna say, first off, no one works for Bitcoin, right? Like, there's
Yeah.
no CEO,
Uh-huh.
there's no C-suite kind of backing Bitcoin.
Hmm.
We are all members of the Bitcoin network, right? I
Hmm.
own Bitcoin. I'm a member of the Bitcoin network, but I have no say over the monetary policy or anything that's going on like that.
Okay.
Regarding like money laundering and everything like that, I would caution people with that argument because the U.S. dollar, specifically cash, not electronic cash, but actual physical, greenback cash,
Yes.
people launder money all the time with
Hmm.
US dollars. So this whole notion that people are committing crimes and doing fraudulent activities with Bitcoin, if anything, if I was a criminal, that would be the last thing I would want to do because every transaction is recorded on the blockchain. It's very transparent for everyone to see and it's auditable. So you can see who's sending money to what address and what time and at what amount. You can't do that with US dollar cash, right? So anyone who's trying to commit crime using Bitcoin is probably stupid in the first place, and they're going to get caught regardless. So I think that argument's pretty tired, honestly.
Mm. Okay.
Mm.
Well,
Tired.
some of
Nap
the
time.
some of the one of the biggest busts actually was a Bitcoin bust. Now I gotta look it up. Oh my god!
Sure.
It was it was actually she was a artist or something like a singer. They laundered $4.5 billion in stolen money.
Damn. She
The
got caught
government
too.
seized. The government seized. I love that the government seizes
I
things.
love that they seize it, right? Like we're gonna
You don't.
hold this for you.
Yeah, we don't know
What's
what they're
crazy is I
gonna do.
think I think the U.S.
Three point
government is one of
six
the largest
billion.
holders of Bitcoin. Yeah,
Probably,
that
yeah.
makes sense.
Three point
Oh, you
six
think so?
billion.
Hmm.
Just from seizures of Bitcoin alone, just criminal seizures, they're probably one of the largest holders,
But how do
private
you
owners of
seize
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin?
The hard
Well, they
drive.
take you to they take you to court and they get their private key and they withdraw the Bitcoin from your wallet and give it to their wallet.
You have to give them the private key though. People giving out the key.
Well,
I
if you're
mean,
taking a
if
court and you're
if
subpoenaed,
yeah,
you
if
have to.
you're subpoenaed by a judge and the
But if
judge
you're
is
gonna
saying
go
you
to
have to hand
jail
it over,
regardless, like you might as well just leave it locked up.
it doesn't work like that. I mean,
But they know you have it. They know you
so if
have
they
it.
say, Jasmine, we're locking you up for life if you don't
Hmm.
give us the key, but we're giving you 20 years if you give us the key, what are you gonna do?
I'm probably give them a key. I'm probably give them the key.
Well,
They
that's why you have
seized
multiple wallets, right?
$3.6 billion in cryptocurrency.
Damn.
It doesn't say which specific coin it is, but it must be Bitcoin.
That's
So, what is
crazy.
coin mining? That's another phrase I've heard as well.
So Bitcoin mining. So that's when people. So in order to generate more Bitcoin, you have what's called miners. So miners are basically computers that are solving the algorithmic computation behind Bitcoin. So basically, they're solving mathematical problems to mine more Bitcoin. So that's really securing the network. So whenever a transaction is conducted on the blockchain, this is complicated, I know. Whenever a transaction is transacted on the blockchain, those transactions are secured and verified by the miner. So you could kind of think of them as the teachers kind of checking the transactions, making sure everything's okay, and they get rewarded with Bitcoin back as a reward.
So it's like the computer is like the worker, right? Let's imagine this was like,
these are servers, right? Like
the computers are doing the
servers.
work.
Yeah,
exactly.
Got it. And
and they're just verifying transactions on the blockchain, and their reward is Bitcoin.
Got it.
Beautiful. And those people make a decent amount of money as well, because I heard you can make $1,200, I think, a week per
You can make decent money.
server. Yeah.
You could make decent money with it. The challenge is you also have to pay the operational expense for hosting the server, electricity cost. So, that's actually something we've been investigating for the fund if we want to buy Bitcoin miners and get into that business. Honestly, I think for the layperson, it's probably simpler to just buy Bitcoin outright as opposed to mining Bitcoin. But I mean, it could be a good way to kind of dollar cost average into Bitcoin if you don't care about the price too much.
Okay, so let's take Jasmine Ruiz, right? She's a young lady. She's working, right? She's making her, let's say, 80K, right? Which most people can't get 80K jobs right now, which is sad. But she makes 80K. She also is an actress. She's making this money on the side. So she decides to invest her side money. What's some of the first things you should look at?
Yeah, so I think I think this is a complicated question because it depends on her objectives and also her timeline and also what's going on in the current environment.
Money.
Okay.
So what do you advise?
So right now we're in the middle of I would describe as a bear market. We're probably going to be in an official recession by the end of the month when the 2Q GDP numbers come out, right? So I expect the market to continue going down from here.
Brian, you're gonna have to explain that for us.
Break that down.
So technically, the government defines a technical recession as two quarters where GDP, gross domestic product, basically growth of the economy, contracts, so it goes negative. So 1Q GDP, so first quarter GDP was down 1.6%. 2Q GDP is going to be down about 1%. We'll see what's going to be at the end of the month, but we'll get the final number at the end of the month. So my expectation is that by the end of the month, we will be officially in a recession. And so you're going to start seeing CNBC, CNN, Joe Biden come out on TV saying, oh, we're in a recession, but it's not too bad, yada, yada. Markets are going to continue going down. So what I would say to the average person right now, Jasmine's trying to get this money, since she's saving up her money on the side, I would say, honestly, right now is probably a good time to stack up in cash, right? And I know that sounds counterintuitive because inflation is so high, but the thing is the rate of inflation is less than the amount that asset prices are going to go down. So stocks and crypto are going to go down faster than inflation is going to erode your purchasing power. So right now, I think the right thing to do is actually save up as much cash as possible because in the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to buy assets at a discount, whether that's stocks, whether that's Bitcoin, whether that's real estate. So we want to put ourselves in a position where we're ready to pull the trigger and make some big money moves when that time comes. We don't want to buy when the market's going down. We want to buy when the market bottoms. So that'd be my general advice to everybody.
Okay. And what about gold? Is gold something that you should also consider investing in at this moment? Because gold is always, not a lot of people know this. The people always think about cash and savings and stocks and all that. But gold is something very good you can invest in.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there's a difference between owning gold as in like through an ETF or through a stock versus owning actual physical gold.
No, I mean actual physical gold.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say if you're going to own gold, definitely own physical gold. The issue with gold, gold is manipulated by central banks globally. So the price of gold should actually be higher than what it is today. Unfortunately, it's not. A lot of foreign central banks actually are now starting to buy a lot of gold. So China and Russia specifically are buying, their central banks are actually buying gold to back their economies. The US has actually not been buying too much gold recently, but there's now a movement of other foreign countries buying gold. I would expect gold to go up in price, especially if we do another round of stimulus in the future and we continue printing money. But again, investing comes down to opportunity cost, right? So if gold goes up because money's printed, I guarantee Bitcoin's going to go up probably more than that. So if you had to choose between the two, I would probably invest in Bitcoin, although I don't think owning gold is a bad idea necessarily.
Okay, so there's
But
three options for the people right there: Bitcoin, gold, and save cash. People,
Yeah.
stop spending the money out there.
what do you say for people that are like, oh, but Bitcoin like isn't a thing, it's not backed by anything, like you got to believe in it in order for it to
There's
work?
no
And
regulations on it now. Well,
yeah, what do you
coming
say
into play.
when for people that are just like it's not real?
Yeah, I mean, U.S. dollars aren't real either, right? They're backed by the full faith and credit of the government, right?
Hmm.
And technically, if you want to get technical, U.S. dollars or currency is backed by our military because the only reason why we're the global reserve currency is because people don't want to step to the United States. Now that's changing, obviously, with Russia and China, but it's just something to consider. The U.S. dollars are not backed by anything. They used to be
That's a mic
backed by
drop.
gold.
Hmm.
Post World War II in 1945, after we won World War II. Europe was in debt. We started back with the U.S. owned, I believe, about a quarter of the gold in the entire world, and so we backed our gold. We backed our U.S. dollars with gold. So if you had dollars, you could convert them to gold. However, in 1971, we actually broke that oath with our allies, and so we actually severed convertibility from U.S. dollars to gold. So basically, we broke away from the gold standard in 1971. People just don't realize that. So now we're in this kind of fiat money system where money, whether it's the euro, whether it's the US dollar, whether it's the Japanese yen, these currencies are backed by trust in central banks and government. And so, if you're saying that, hey, well, Bitcoin's not backed by anything, I mean, neither is fiat currency. So, I mean, you pick your evil right at this point.
Mm,
Hmm.
mhm.
Wow. So let me ask you something. So where does this interest for you personally come? Like my interest is being on a microphone and talking shit and, writing comedy and creating content, right?
Mhm.
That's where my passion lies. Where did you, when you were in high school, you're like, this is what I'm gonna do. I couldn't picture you being in high school like
No, no, no,
checking
no, no.
stocks and shit, or in the eighth
Nah.
grade. Like, where did this come from? Was it your parents? Was it peers?
I mean, I'm a competitive dude, so I played sports my whole life.
Hmm.
So anything I do, I try to win.
Hmm.
I've really started getting into investing in stocks probably in college. Um, Listen, the reality is, man, I'm not trying to be poor, right? And when I went to Columbia, a lot of my peers had a lot of money. A lot of them
Hmm.
came from wealthy families who, they went to Ivy League schools and everything. I didn't have shit. My mom
Right.
raised me with my grandmother, and that's it. And so we as I left college, I knew the first objective is try to get some money, however it is, right?
Mm.
And so I kind of went I naturally gravitated into finance because when I was in engineering school, half the kids go into engineering and half the kids go into finance. So
Mm.
I was like, engineering is kind of not really my thing. I don't really want to do that. Finance I can get behind because it's like a sport. You just
Mhm.
try to make money. The scoreboard, you check the scoreboard every day. Scoreboard's how much money you got. And so, I worked in finance and I just fell in love with it. It's interesting. It's intellectually stimulating and you could always get better. I could do this stuff, and Warren Buffett's still investing, and he's almost 100 years old.
Yeah,
This is something you could do for the rest of your life.
I
So
don't even think
I
he's
feel like
still
there's
alive.
longevity in this.
I think it's just so you mentioned another thing like athletes, right? They have a time span. I think one of the best to do it besides Magic Johnson and Shaq, I think A-Rod. I think
Yep.
A-Rod knew early on exactly, that there was a timeline on how much money he was going to make, and he knew what his worth was in baseball. He maxed
Hmm.
that out, and then as soon as he finished and retired, he started making investments in car dealerships and whatnot.
Yep.
Presidente.
Yeah.
Presidente as well.
Ton of
Mhm.
real estate too. Yep.
So, what do you think that some of these leagues need to be held accountable for their athletes spending the money properly? I mean, the ESPN did a great documentary called "Broke." Um,
Hmm.
do the leagues need to be held accountable to teaching these like college students or these third world country
Mm.
guys that they sign? Because they spend a lot of money in Mexico and Venezuela and the
Sure.
Dominican Republic to sign these players. Should the leagues be educating their players?
I mean, I think absolutely. I mean, financial literacy, no
Hmm.
one receives. And I think,
Hmm.
the challenge with money, especially with these athletes, is, the quicker you get money, the faster you usually lose it, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of these guys, they're taught how to communicate. A lot of these teams teach people how to speak English, how to do interviews and everything like that, but
Hmm.
they don't talk about them about with financial literacy. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's absolutely necessary. I think I saw a stat with the NFL where it's like after 5 years of leaving the NFL, I think 50% of NFL athletes go broke or something like that. I mean,
That's
it's a tragic number.
crazy.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's
there's like a 30 for
crazy.
30 on it. But I mean, this happens in all sports, right? And so there has to be something about it. But I think that's why financial education is so important. Whether you're making a couple $1 million a year or whether you're making 50K a year, because either way, you have to realize how to play the game. Otherwise, you're not going to keep your money.
So
Right.
Delonte West of the Cleveland Cavaliers and a bunch of other teams, he made an estimate of $16 million during his playing career. The man is
Mhm.
dead broke now and addicted to drugs. So that's just one example how things could go south. Um,
Yeah.
did did you see yourself like, man, I'm not gonna make it to these pros, and if I do, minimum salary is five. Did you do the math in your head?
I did the math and realized that I could make more money going to college and getting a professional career than ever doing anything with athletics. And
Hmm.
I was like, all right, I gotta lean in this direction and not even waste my time trying to play, D3 baseball in college and waste my time. And I should spend more of my effort and energy studying so I could get a good job after school.
Okay. And
Right.
now you took that leap. Let's talk about a lot of people are scared to take the leap, be their own boss. Um,
That's real. That's real. It's a scary leap to take because,
yeah,
a paycheck is an insulin drip, it's like not insulin drip. You know what I'm trying to say.
it's
The heroin drip.
consistent.
Um
It's
Heroin
consistent.
drip. It's a dream killer. It's a dream killer. So
Is
yes, how
it?
did you take that? It is. It is.
Man.
People pay what I think is J. Cole. I think it's J. Cole. He says like people pay you to forget your dreams. And that's what a
Hmm.
paycheck is. Or maybe it was Russ. It was either J. Cole or Russ. They said that line and I was like, damn, that shit is real because it's true. You get a steady job and then suddenly your dreams become more and more scary because you want that stability.
Hmm.
And inherently following a dream is unstable because there's this huge what if.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like tell us about
Let
that.
me ask you for individual close. I just asking for a friend, just for asking for a friend. He got two kids, just bought a house. Has a very good, decent job. Should he make that leap like you made that leap? And what made you make that leap?
I mean, I think the easiest part of my decision was that I was young and didn't have kids. I
Hmm.
think that was first and foremost. I know there was a timeline on me, and I'm like, all right, I get a good 5, 6, 7 years where I can make this happen before I start, getting burdened by family. Not to say that family is a burden, but it does stop your
Damn.
dreams. It does.
Responsibility.
Responsibility does
No, I'm
slow down
just
your
messing
dreams a
with
bit. But no, I mean, I quit my job when I was, I think, 26, 27. Um, I
you.
knew I was
Wow.
at that point in life where I knew enough to be dangerous, but I also had enough energy where I could teach myself anything that I didn't know. And I was also at a point in my life where even if I messed up, I could always go back and get a job. I didn't have anyone necessarily relying on me. And
Hmm.
so I felt like I was in a decent position where I could pull the trigger on that. But I mean, it's probably one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. I mean, I'm still sacrificing to this day, so I'm definitely not making what I used to make at the bank even.
Hmm.
But I know I'm on the path, and I see myself even every quarter, every month, I see myself getting incrementally closer to kind of where I need to be and have financial freedom. But I would say the best thing about leaving my job and leaving corporate America is that I have freedom of time, and I think people don't think about that.
That's
Is
the
like
pet. Oh.
no one tells me when to wake up, no one tells me when to go to sleep, no one tells me when to work, no one tells me when to chill. I have full autonomy of my time, my calendar, and so yeah, I want to be doing a podcast at 8 p.m. at the end of my day. No problem. I'm happy to do this, right? But some people at 8 p.m. when they come back from work, they're shot, they're tired, they just want to sit back and watch
Or some
Netflix,
people are
and
still
it's like, yo,
working.
so some people are still working. So you know what? It kind of just depends on what your personality is like. For
Mhm.
me, I know I'm a hard worker, and I know I like to get after, and I'm competitive. So this felt like a good path for me, and I'm happy I did it.
Wow. Wow.
Wow.
I'm just this is going
Too many
great.
shots. I'm sorry.
I would say for the when you say, you have control over your own time, that is a really big responsibility that I feel like at the same time, it's great, but not everyone can do that either. I
That's
remember
true.
during quarantine, and granted, quarantine was a very special time, but it's the only time that I can go back to where I was an adult with freedom of my time. Terrible situation. So maybe it's like a little skewed, but I had a hard time even planning my days sometimes because
Why?
I was just like, I don't know why. Like there was some day I think it's I
Did you
attribute
call
it
up
to being a
Brian like, Brian,
creative.
what should I do right now? I got all this fucking time right now.
I attribute it
She
to
looked
being a
over to me. She was like,
creative.
"Yo, come on."
Yo, no, he was always gangbanging. Like he was a and I'm over here like, should I have breakfast? Should I make a video? Should I, So
Hmm.
I feel like it's like there is a big responsibility and having control over your time because you have to actually set your own schedule, and a lot of people don't know how to actually do that,
Mm.
and that could be tough too. And sticking to it because then you're only accountable to yourself. You know what I'm saying?
I just feel like the point where you're talking about owning your own schedule and your own time, it's priceless, especially me now as a father of two.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to be able to, there's days where I could work from home. And the fact that I get that freedom from my office, I really appreciate it because I'm able to spend
Yeah.
time with my kids and they grow up really fast and you don't get that back at all.
Mhm.
So it's something that I learned with my first, and now with my second, I see her a little less because my first was born during COVID. So I was able to
Mhm.
spend that time with them. And it's part of why I started my own show, my own podcast. And I wanted to eventually make this vessel and this vehicle into its own thing where I could do it when
Mm-hmm.
I wanted, how I wanted, and made money off of it.
Right.
So if you
I
could,
think that's the new American dream, honestly.
It
yeah,
is. It
I,
is.
I have a friend. He recently quit TikTok. He had a $250,000 job, and he quit TikTok to launch his brand.
That's
Quit
amazing.
TikTok? You mean he quit his job to launch
He,
his TikTok brand?
no, he has a brand called Plural. He also has a podcast called Quien Tu Eres, and he literally took the leap and he did an episode called "I Quit." It was #1 on Spotify. Um, and he even before he quit, he released his bonuses, how much money he made a yearly, because he wanted his female counterparts to get paid equally as well. And then
Mm-hmm.
he talked about the
Nice.
culture in TikTok. I've had conversations with him afterwards. He's like, "No way, I'm making the amount of money that I was making there."
Oh no.
But he was smart enough with his money that when he made the exit, he was going to be good.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah.
it's all about making the leap, though.
Word. And being prepared, to make that leap, whether it be like financial preparedness, mental preparedness,
Mhm.
just being like have your ducks in a row. I feel like that's really hard.
Yeah, but at
Yeah, like
26, I was just interested in just drinking beers, hanging out at the bar, watching sports, and
Most
it's
26-year-olds are, even to this day.
yeah, but in
well, you know
this
what, man?
man's planning his financial takeover of the world, while I'm in, the monkey room drinking beers.
But you know what, man? At the time, I tell you, I was making really good money at the bank. My job was what some people would consider a dream job. Like a
Mhm,
lot of people I went to Columbia with would die for the job I had,
mhm,
covering beverages, tobacco, and cannabis. Really cool industry, making a lot of money. But I hated my life, and you could even ask Jasmine. On a day
Mhm.
to day, this shit sucked,
mhm,
and I would dead ass sit at my desk late night. I'd be there Friday nights, 10 p.m., 11 p.m., midnight, and I'd be like, "Yo, every decision I made in my life brought me to this point. Like that means that only I can get myself out of this situation."
mhm,
And so I know it's really easy to say, "Oh yeah, just quit your job, quit corporate America, and just start your own business." But this was like years in the making. Like I knew I had to do something, but I couldn't be too quick about making a decision. I had to plan it out. I had to be thoughtful. And you gotta follow your gut. And the reason why I started with the gym first was because that was more of a passion project. I love the gym. It's a big part of my life. Been an athlete my whole life. But kind of going after that, I realized, I'm not going to become a millionaire running a gym. I'll make good money. I'll make decent money running a gym, and
mhm,
it's fun and it's fulfilling, and I get to meet a lot of great people. But this is not going to put me in financial success.
mhm,
And so I already had a skill set, stocks, markets, everything like that. And I'm like, what can I do with this? How can I monetize this so that I can achieve financial freedom? And so, when COVID hit, everything kind of lined up right, and I kind of flexed my relationships and all, everything I built over the past number of years. And, I took the leap of faith, but it's not like it was an on off switch. Like this was very methodical. It was a lot of years in the making. And so I would just say to anybody who's trying to make that leap of faith, like just be very thoughtful about what you're trying to do. Cause reality is you probably only have one or two shots to make it happen. Right. So you got
mm.
to make sure those shots are on
Mm.
target when you make them.
Netizen Capital Digital Assets Fund. Uh, Explain to me what that is and how much money do I need to give you?
Yeah. So, oh man, I don't want to say too much about for legal stuff, but
Mhm,
The minimum investment is about 25K, although I can be flexible with that. Really,
Mm.
what it is, it's a pooled investment vehicle. So I have family, friends, former coworkers give me money together. My money is also in there as well, and I invest it as one portfolio. And so the objective of the fund is to outperform Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin is up, hopefully we're up more than Bitcoin. If Bitcoin's down, hopefully we're down less or up or even flat. So I'm happy to say that we're actually up 2% this year, where a lot of people are down a lot of money. A lot of people lost money this year. I think Bitcoin is down about 55% year to date. So we're doing well so far. But yeah, we've been in operations for 6 months so far. So we'll see where this is going to go. But I mean, I'm in this for a long game. I'm hoping to do this kind of until I retire. So this is my magnum opus so far.
So, do you picture yourself living like Bobby Axelrod from the show Billions?
Nah, man, that's not really my lifestyle.
Do you
I want to stack up. Yeah, I know what
do
you're
you
talking
watch the
about.
show?
I know Bobby Axelrod. I don't watch the show though. Everyone
Okay,
tells me I
okay.
should watch it,
You should. You would
but
love it.
I probably would. Yeah, I probably like it. No, man. Listen. I want financial independence. I want financial freedom. I want to be
Mhm.
able to live life on my own terms. That's what this comes down to. It's not a specific number, although I have some numbers in my head, obviously. But I want to just reach escape velocity so that I never have to work again, or if I have to work, it's because it's my own choice, not because I'm
Mhm.
forced to. And I can also hook up my family and friends to the extent possible. So I'm just trying to put myself in a good position where I can help as many people as possible.
Wow.
I like that when you say escape velocity, because I feel like that's different for everyone. And I feel like for people out there that, they're like, oh, I just want to be paid. A lot of people make up all these arbitrary numbers. But I
Mhm.
think it's important for people to actually stop and think like, well, what is it like that I want?
What is your
And
number?
what is the velocity that I'm looking for? Like if I'm trying to live a Kim K lifestyle, then my escape velocity is $1 billion. What I'm saying? I feel like
Wait,
everyone just needs to figure
is
out like
that
what is
is
it.
that the goal though, Jazz?
No. I don't need to be a billionaire. I would like to be a billionaire. I'm never gonna say no to it. But for me, my goal is to just never have to think about like money.
Okay.
Just never have to think about it. If I want to go freaking order, go to Nobu and ball out, I could go and be like, oh, I
Or
want everything
travel
on the
wherever you
menu.
want to.
Travel, like I all I care about is travel and food. Like I
Mhm.
swear to God, like I don't like that is like all I'm focused on: travel, food, and of course hooking up my family. But like as far as like I don't need to be really flashy and have a
Mhm.
$800 shirt. I'm totally fine in my little Target tank top. I just want to eat good food and I want to travel to nice places and I want to hook my family up, and that's it.
So I got a surprise for you, Brian. I'm gonna play a 30-second clip, and I'm gonna bring in a special co-host that we have here on the show. Let me find the clip first, and we'll be right back.
COVID 19 moves fast, and now you can too. If you feel symptoms, even if they're mild, you should test fast. Test positive and at high risk for severe COVID 19? Then act fast with authorized oral treatments that can be taken at home and must be taken within 5 days from when symptoms begin. COVID 19 moves fast, and now you can too by asking your healthcare provider if an oral treatment is right for you. Learn about a treatment option at treatcv19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Yeah, Pfizer sponsors this episode. Great
You
commercial.
got you on payroll, huh?
Thank you, Pfizer. I
That's
mean,
that's that drug money, huh? That's that new drug money.
in the building. Let's switch
Yo,
Dr.
yo,
G
yo,
around.
yo, Rick was good.
What's up, Dr. G is all about his money. So
All
my
about
man
that
Brian
shmoney.
Velez is right here. We could have this conversation now, Dr. G. You're making
Yo,
all this money
yo,
off these sessions. What are you gonna do with it?
facts. Wait,
Spit to
tell me,
me.
say that again.
What are you gonna do with all this money that you're making? You're charging $600 a session,
Ooh,
an
right
hour.
now, I'm spending it in the club. You know what I'm saying? On these
Is that
shorties.
smart, Brian? Is that smart? Blowing it in the club, making it rain?
I mean, yo, if you're getting laid and it's worth it to you, man, go for it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's pretty surprising. You about that life? You
I'm
about
not
that
about that
life?
life. I'm about stacking up my bread. I'm not about that life, but
Whoa,
you
whoa,
might
whoa,
be.
whoa. What should I do with my bread outside of spending it on the ladies? Because sometimes they get real expensive.
Mhm.
I feel like they just want me for my money, so I want to like do something with my money, so I don't just give it all to them because I'll go broke for the ladies.
Is that
Well,
good financial advice to invest in women?
Yeah, is that good advice? Is that good advice? You preaching that on your website?
it depends on the woman.
Oh, I see you, player.
Wow.
But I would take that strip club money and I would definitely buy some Bitcoin with it. That's the first thing I would tell you for sure. That way you could
Jay
go
Z
back to the
told
strip
me.
club.
Jay Z told me
Yo,
don't spend it at the strip club, but to know about my credit. Well,
Okay.
what do you think?
I
What do
mean
you
that
think?
too. I mean, absolutely. Buy assets, have a good credit score, and then you can have some fun with the money. Listen, money is just a vehicle, right? Sometimes we got to eat, sometimes we try to have fun. So
Mhm.
people have the
Wow.
right to do whatever they want with their money. That's why I say. But never forget, you got to make money before you can use it.
Yeah. So after you buy the houses, Dr. G, then you could go to the strip club. Um,
Got you.
so
Word.
Dr. G's credit is up there. What's the first thing Dr. G should do though? Because
Yeah.
I heard bad debt is good debt actually, like owing to the bank because you own a home or you own some assets. I heard that that's good for you.
I'd say some debt's good to take on. It just depends on what the interest rate is. So right
Hmm.
now, central banks are raising interest rates. So actually buying a house right now is actually expensive,
Yeah.
right? The same house you could buy today versus 6, 7 months ago,
It's at
the
six
same house
points
costs
around.
twice as much. It's, yeah, I think mortgage rates are about 6%.
Yeah.
6 months ago, they were about 3%, right? So that
Hmm.
same house you would have bought 6 months ago, that monthly expense is now double. That's crazy.
Mm.
So I would say usually when mortgage rates are rising, we typically see housing prices fall in the following 12 to 18 months. So if you're looking to buy a house right now, my advice to you would be stack cash because housing prices are definitely going to go down in the next 12 to 18 months. And you want to be in a position where you can actually buy something at a good price and not at an inflated price.
Hmm. So Dr. G wants to buy these Maybachs, these G backs, like he likes to call them.
Like
Uh,
Ricky Rose.
yeah, that's my guy, my financial advisor. How would I like? Is that a smart move? Exotic cars?
I mean, if they have resale value, maybe. I mean, if you're into collectibles, I know some people do that and they sell them back
Mm,
at a later time. But I lease my car because I don't feel like buying a depreciating asset is worth it to me. To me, I'd rather lease the car. It gives me more flexibility, so I can pivot if I'm moving or something. If I don't need that car at a certain point in my life, I can get out of it. You can also sell out of your lease too, so it's not
mm.
like you're necessarily tied to the lease. So I'm not really a big fan of buying cars, but I mean, if it's like a collectible, if it's like a super rare exotic or something like that, and some people are
I
into
mean,
that,
Dr. G's
you can
driving it,
flip
so
that.
it has to
I
be.
know, yeah,
It's got to be.
I'm
exactly.
all about buying my car because I don't like that monthly payment. That's why I want to
Mm.
get it out the way. Because I'm gonna
Oh
keep this car forever. I ain't trying to pivot. It's my
no.
baby.
Okay. So, leasing over financing, as far as cars goes, that's your
For
advice.
cars, yeah,
Okay.
that's what I would say. Yeah, that's a personal decision, I would say, but for me, that I would rather lease.
Okay.
Yeah. They don't work for me.
I mean, the way the car market is right now, it's insane.
Crazy.
You
Oh,
might
it's
pay
crazy.
a ton more of your financing because of the demand right now is higher than the supply.
What
Um,
about jewelry? What about jewelry?
yeah,
Because
that's
when
my next thing. Dr. G's got a
yeah,
ton of
and
gold.
if I'm dripping in this gold. You know what I'm saying? I got this money, and I want everybody to know, I'm blinging, blinging. What's your thought about that?
Yeah, honestly, that's a good question. So I think, listen, I think gold's good to buy. I think diamonds are good to buy. Just don't buy too much, right? Because at least those
Okay.
assets they're gonna hold their value over time, and they'll probably keep pace with inflation, especially gold and diamonds. If you're gonna buy jewelry, don't get fake stuff. That's the number one warning I'd probably issue to most people.
Hmm.
Never
Don't get a
Playboy
knockoff.
trying to
Get yeah.
who he talking to, Rick? You know who he talking to, son?
Dr.
All
G,
right.
what about engagement rings? Dr. G's looking at a few right now. Is that a good investment on his part? Because he's giving it away as a gift.
I would defer to my last answer. It depends on the woman.
Okay. Okay.
Word, 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 word. I'm
Dr. G, you
thinking of
got any other
proposing to a
questions you
few.
want to ask? A few. Oh, damn.
Yeah, and then I'ma just the one that says yeah first. It's my
Oh,
shorty.
that's okay. That works.
Shorty.
That's a good
Shorty.
theory.
Just in
Okay.
case I get a couple no's. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. What about
Word.
children though, Dr. G? Like, what if the
I'm gonna have
nose
a little
and
clan with just my shorty.
okay.
I don't like no baby mamas. Can't have no drama.
So Brian, if I'm getting married, is it smart for me if I have some money saved to get a prenup or to look into that and like to separate my finance from my wedding at this point in time?
I mean, that's probably more of a personal conversation, but I mean, I like to be transparent.
Yes, just like if I'm coming to you, like I'm part of the fun. I'm like, listen, I got all this money and I'm marrying this girl. Dr. G's marrying this girl from the strip club. So should
Word.
he take care of
I
himself?
mean, yeah, in that situation for sure, I think that's the right move to make. Yeah, but
Okay.
I would say that if you do it to the wrong woman, it could probably cause some challenges in the relationship. So just beware.
Cheaper to keeper.
Word, word, word. Word up.
Dr. G, do you have anything else?
Nah, yo, I feel like I really know what to do with my money. I'm gonna get iced out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna buy a crib. I'm gonna
Okay.
invest a little bit, and then
Okay.
I'm gonna go get the rest of the shorties. You know?
Oh, okay.
Word up.
Dr. G, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. G, thank you for coming back on the show. We truly do appreciate it. Um,
Thank you for having me.
you,
Deuces. Big
you're
ups
more than
to
welcome
Money
to come back.
Man.
Money man. Okay, Brian.
Mm,
Brian, I guess you're money man from now on.
Money
That's it.
dude.
I love
Finance
it.
dude. My man
Fi-
like math. Word up.
Thank you, Dr. G. Wow, Dr. G's incredible.
Great. Yeah, I love it.
Incredible. Incredible. So blowing your money in the strip club. Now let's get back to the car situation real quick because I have people who work in the dealerships and they're the director of finances and they agree with you. They say it's
Hmm.
better to lease at this point than to finance. If you finance,
Yep.
you're locked into that rate for as long as the terms are. The lease, you're not. You're able to. You have more flexibility, especially
Yeah.
with the prices now.
I would say it's almost kind of the same even for housing, right? Like I know a lot
Hmm.
of people say renting is throwing money away. It's really not
Hmm.
because when you buy a house, you got to pay taxes, you got insurance, you have other costs that people don't think about. Renters don't have to think about that.
Hmm.
So if you're trying to keep your life simple, lease a car, rent a house, rent an apartment, unless you're trying to sink your roots and kind of live in a specific place and that's the place you want to own and live.
Hmm.
I mean, I think for most people, leasing and renting is not a bad thing. I think there's a lot of stigma around it.
Hmm.
People make you feel bad if you're not buying a house and if you're renting, as if that's the American dream. But sometimes, right, like especially right now, housing prices are out of control. I mean, so are rents too, but housing prices, I mean, you're buying a house, but prices could fall at 20, 30, 40%. We don't know, right?
Hmm.
And it's like how expensive are you going to buy a house for? This doesn't seem worth it to me, especially if you're locking yourself into a 30-year mortgage. You don't even know where you're going to be in 5, 10 years, let alone 30 years. So
Hmm.
I think it's a tough decision for a lot of people to make, but I don't think there's anything wrong with leasing or
So
renting.
one of the future episodes I want to do is on first time homeowners and people buying homes because there's a lot of questions I get. Like since I went through the process, a lot of people ask me about it. So I'm going to bring a realtor on. I'm going to bring a lender on. And if Brian, if you would like to join us that day, I'll send you the day. And if it works for you, you're invited to come on and speak on it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Jazz, you missed Dr. G again.
Damn, I stay missing him. I really want to see him. What do you have to
He's a,
say?
he's a he's a character.
It's character. It's character. And he was
Yes.
just talking about strip clubs and stuff. That was the
He
first
spent
thing
so much money there.
I know. I know.
At least he's
I told
happy.
him. I told him stop doing that. I'm like, yo, you got to do something better with your money.
And he believes giving it to the women in strip clubs and
I
partying
think
up.
he's just a feminist, so he's in
Mm,
support of
okay.
women on the come up,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he
Putting
Equal
people
wants
through
pay.
to pay
college.
it
Yeah.
forward.
Okay. I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
I get it.
That's what I would say. That's what I would say about Dr. G. You know,
Here we go.
quick question. Quick question. So when you talk about like when you talk about starting a business and trying to be financial savvy, what do you say to like people that might be like, oh, but that's such a big sacrifice or that's such a big risk, and even and maybe they have savings and maybe they're just like, I don't want to take the sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean, I think people need to realize that either way you're making a sacrifice, you just gotta choose which one it is, right? If you're quitting your job to start a business, trust me, you're going to be making sacrifices down that journey. But if you don't quit your job and you decide to stay in your 9 to 5 or whatever job it is, that's also a sacrifice too, because maybe you're unhappy, maybe you're unfulfilled, maybe you're not doing your dream job, and you might be just addicted to that steady paycheck, and that's giving you that false sense of security. So either way, you're making a sacrifice. It's just one's in your face and one's not in your face, right?
Damn,
It's in your
Brian
face if you
know
quit
all
your
about
job.
my life right now.
But
He's talking to me too, Rick. I still got a
reality,
9 to
man.
5. We in the same boat. We in the same boat. I'm on my 9 to 5 too.
You was looking through my LinkedIn, huh? Nah. Jazz, you have any other questions for this guest who you have no idea who he is and you just met today?
I mean, you said a lot of big words. So do you have, do you do videos or something that like you could break it down for the average people that don't know these big ass words?
For people who get financial advice from Instagram like me.
So I would say,
yeah.
So I'd say Google's your best friend. No, I mean, listen,
Wow.
I talk this way
That was rude.
because I worked in this industry.
That's like sending that thing. My friend used to do it all the time. Let me Google that for you.
Yeah. I mean, listen, it's hard to simplify it because these are complex topics, and I think people don't realize how complex a lot of this system is. Like, even the topic of money, I could probably spend an hour just talking about what is money, what money used to be historically, and what it is today, and how it's evolving. People don't want to hear that stuff. It goes over a lot of people's head. Look at you shaking your head right now.
I
But
concur.
I would
Sometimes
say,
I'll ask a question and he's like, I'm like 30 minutes late. I'm like, can you just get to it?
No, I like the history. He gave us brief history on the government.
I do like the history.
I liked all that. Thank you for that.
But sometimes he gets all up in the weeds.
Well, it's important to understand, at least in my opinion.
He's giving you the details, lady.
I'm giving you the details.
But sometimes I just want high level.
See, that's the headline reading mentality that a lot of people have.
Give me the headline.
Yeah, that's what that is. This is what happens when we have social media and all that stuff. People want this stuff like, come on, hurry up.
Span. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely. That question I just asked, I ain't gonna front. It was a trap question because I've been telling Brian, I'm like, you need to make content that breaks it down super simple, and he hasn't done it yet.
Well, that's why he's got you in his corner.
That's a moneymaker idea, though. If he could break it down simply, like.
But you, the content creator, aren't you?
I gotta make my own content about dumb shit. Like we gotta make people laugh about ridiculous things.
Not smart
comedy,
shit, dumb shit.
the math.
Wait, but you bringing him a solution, right? And I'm giving you a solution to the solution that you have a problem with.
I know, but I can't make the content,
Well, but you can help it. You can help.
She wants me to put her on payroll. That's the problem.
No, I'm expensive. To be on payroll. I'm expensive. And he wants these
12
I can afford her.
You do 12 topics. You outline each one. You give it to Brian. You say, "Can you simplify this?" And you record and edit it.
All right, maybe I'll try to do that this week, Rick. Thank you for giving me
this
homework.
Is something you want for him.
It's
right?
also something I want for myself because I'm like, I would consume that content. I would consume.
She's been trying to convince me to start TikTok for a while. I appreciate it.
I've been trying.
Listen. Hold on. She's right in that aspect.
I know. I understand. It's just difficult.
There's barely any algorithms with the application. It's easier to the generation that follows you on TikTok. They're a little bit more loyal than Instagram. Like they follow you, they'll like your stuff, they'll comment on it, they'll share it.
They're active. They're not cool.
They're very active.
Yeah, Instagram's too cool for school.
Yeah, I did a piece with a podcast, and it was about, if you date a girl for 9 months and she turns out that she's pregnant, you're obligated to be responsible for the baby. And my response was no. And that's all I said, right? And that clip went viral, and there was like 859 comments on it. So that's just on TikTok alone. So
people
TikTok
beefing with Rick. I beefed from that the other episode. I was like, yes, you are.
No, if I'm with you for 9 months, and all of a sudden you give birth to a child that's not mine, I am, because she says,
it's not yours.
Yeah. What?
I thought it was. You know what? I misheard. I thought it was yours.
Rick's a good guy. He wouldn't do that.
And she says that you are now responsible for that child.
Like you a stepdaddy already?
Like you have to pay for it, take care of it, raised it. And I was like, no.
Just a red
No.
flag.
Yo, did you see the girl that put her baby daddy on blast for only buying one McDonald's meal?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God. I'm gonna give you a quick summary. Woman, she's like, I'm about to expose my baby father. So her baby dad gets out the van. He's like, why are you recording me? She's like, I'm gonna expose you. Why'd you only get like she was like, that's one bag. What do you got in there? He was like, burger, fries, I got a drink, like it's his favorite meal. And she was like, and what about the other kids? And he was like, what about him? I only got one kid with you. Like you got 3 other kids. Like those ain't my kids. I didn't have those kids. Those are your kids. And she's like, but those are his siblings. And he's like, but I only have one child. And it was like this multiple part video.
I see his point.
Everyone in the comments was like, this woman is crazy. I'm definitely team him on that because I'm like, he's supporting his
But
kid.
as a
He's being
human
good
being,
dad.
though,
As a human. So her thing, right? This was my thing. Her thing was, she was like, I don't get my food stamps till next month. But maybe instead of coming at him, barking at him, you could just be like, hey, could you help me? And
I'm not a fan of people putting their personal business on Instagram.
Yeah, it was crazy, but just the audacity.
But you watched, how many times did you watch it, Jasmine?
I only watched it one time through. I can't watch things multiple times like that because then I start feeling guilty, like wasting my time watching this craziness. But it was very entertaining for that one. I read through the comments. I will say that.
And we could have been doing Brian's first video. You see, Brian, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast.
I appreciate it. Thank you
it's
for having
very
me.
obvious who got the win. One couple. There's one that is like. One is marrying up, like for me, it was me. I won, I got another bet. Obviously, Jazz, congratulations.
Get out of here. Listen, we won each other.
I like Rick. Rick's a good guy.
Rick is really on your side today. Like
I really like you guys. It's cool to meet somebody's other half.
Yeah.
And we've talked about Brian like in a mythical sense on the show.
The legend of Brian. Yes.
Yeah. So it's we talked about. She mentioned that you work out and that you're pretty jacked. So
I did say that, Brian. You see, I talk about you.
I own a gym, so I have to look good. It's part of the marketing.
It's a requirement. So. Otherwise, people won't sign up. They'll be like, "I'm not signing with you."
So I can't own a gym. Damn.
Damn, all right. Nah, Rick, that shit failed.
Thank you for being on the show. I appreciate all the financial advice. I appreciate you sharing your story with us. Very inspiring, my brother. Keep doing what you're doing. Jasmine, congratulations one more time. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday.
Bye.
Let me see if I could do this the right way. I didn't forgot how to run my own show. Oh, here we go.
Come on, producer.
Here we go. I need to get Justin back because I could just do all the talking and he does all the graphics and all the moving around.
Yeah.
See you guys next week.
You feel that now? I feel like Rocky in this one, baby. Let's go. Alright, check it. Blast from the past, back from the future. So if I pull the trigger in the past, know you in your future. I'm still hustling, still hugging the block. The referee to the shit, I'm still calling them shots. I can't be stopped. That's what I told you. I'm living my life like a box of Crayolas. I'm cutting up white, smoking that green. Purple color pens, I'm still making this cream. I'm so sick, check my throat quick. My wrist light up a room like a handful of glow stick. I'm like spoiled milk, the kids gone bad. Then it's the menace, my pen touches the pad. Niggas is mad, but the ladies is glad. Yo, they rubbing up against me like this nigga is rad. Fucking two divas, drinking on sangria. I got the beam of the color, diarrhea. Tire strings on my feet cause I'm so fly. Hopped out the DeLorean, it's Artie McFly.